Hey everybody, this is Oscar from the sidehustleplaybook.biz. Thanks for joining me once again. Wanted to do a quick video on some questions that we've been getting via our website, and just want to talk a little bit about eBay and how we handle our shipping. If you're just getting started out on eBay, you want to be careful with your shipping. Make sure you're charging enough to cover your cost. I've seen that be a big issue for folks that are just starting out. As an example, my brother just doesn't really do eBay day to day. He does use it from time to time to sell stuff that he finds or is trying to get rid of from his house. And he had this item, basically pretty heavy. It was a pretty heavy item. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something in the sports area that he had got that he's basically stopped playing. Can't remember if it was golf or baseball, because I know he plays two sports, but ended up selling it on eBay, got a good price, was happy with it. Two mistakes he made, though, is he ended up putting a reserve on it, which eBay charges you up front a chunk of money when you do reserves, so you got to be careful with those. But the other thing is he didn't take into account the length of the box that he was using. So when you're shipping, weight is extremely important, but the other big piece is the size of the box. So UPS, FedEx, USPS to a point, they all do different types of calculations, and they're looking at your weight and as also how big the box is, how much space you're taking up, in their cargo planes and stuff like that. So you could have something that's very light, but if it's if it goes into like a very awkward box, very long, that can cause you some pricing surcharges as well. So at the end of the day, you really want to know your cost of what you're going to be charging. So unfortunately for him, his shipping was a bit higher than he had quoted. He basically did like a flat rate on his shipping, and he ended up losing some money there. Still made money in the long, overall on the price, but definitely left some money on the table that he had to eat up for the shipping. So a couple of things. First thing, number one, is get a scale. You want to have a scale. I can actually show you the one that we use. We bought it, I want to say, on Amazon long ago, and this bad boy is still working for us. Let me see if you can see it here. So that's our Ultra Ship Ultra 50. Like I said, it's one that's been around. They're still out there. They're available. It's not name brand, but it works just fine for us. We've been very happy with it. So Ultra Ship, but there's also tons of other ones. We like this one because of the weight capacity. It can go up to 50 pounds. That's why it's called the Ultra Ship 50. Again, look at what you're selling on a regular basis. Try to get one that can handle that amount, the amount of weight that you're going to be shipping out the most. But for us, the cost for a 50 pounder was negligible, so we went ahead and went with that. The other thing you want to do, though, is make sure that you weigh your items in the box that you're going to ship it in. So there's a lot of different ways that people do this. As far as how they pack their products, we put ours in bins like you've seen before, but some folks will actually put it in bins or actually put it in the box that they're already going to ship it, close it up, and just put like a note of what the item is inside. I've never been able to get that organized, but definitely we always get the box that we're going to use or to ship out that item, and we'll weigh it in the box so we know exactly what the weight is. But the other important piece of that box that you really want to make sure you follow is the dimensions of the box. So when we do our listings, I use calculated shipping the most. It's just something that's always worked for us. I think it's fair for the buyer that they're not going to get overcharged. And you can add a surcharge of $1 or $2 if you really wanted to. But for us, because that covers your cost of the box and things like that, right? But for me, and the way we've been doing it, we've gone both routes. We've done flat rate, where we just charge a flat rate for the shipping, whether it's say $20, or we've done calculated shipping, and the majority of the times the stuff that's been selling for us has been calculated. And the reason I like calculated shipping is just because we can, if somebody tries to give us a best offer and it's a little bit lower than our price, I at least know I'm going to get the fair amount for the fair amount for the actual shipping at the end of the day. Um, so that's kind of why we use the calculated quite a bit. Again, you can do the flat rate, but for me, there's times, where, especially if it's somebody like in the same state, that's one thing where I felt like, and folks would question it, like, hey, you're charging me $20, and I'm like one city over, it's not that much to ship it, things like that. So just to avoid that, we do the calculated shipping. That seems to work out well for us. But when we're doing our listing, it's very important when you're doing your listing, add the weight as always, but also add the dimensions of the box. That's going to make sure that you're getting the true shipping charge that you're going to see from UPS or FedEx, or if you're going through eBay for your shipping. So definitely do that. Make sure you're entering that data. The other piece is, some folks like using Pirate Ship. Some people like using USPS.com or going to UPS. We have a UPS account. But when we're doing eBay, we always ship through eBay. So we basically handle all that. That way the tracking number and everything is updated. And that has been, you're getting good rates on eBay. We have a business account with UPS, and our tier, because of the amount of shipping that we do, isn't as cheap as the eBay shipping. And we're actually at a pretty good tier for being a small business. But again, the eBay shipping, you're not going to go wrong there. You're going to get a good price. And if you're not selling very much, you're still getting that eBay price, which is very, very competitive with anything else out there. The other reason that I like using eBay shipping, or shipping through the eBay platform, is when it comes to any type of customer or issues with returns. And I apologize, my dog is out there barking a little bit, so if you hear her, I do apologize for that. She just decides that sometimes she needs a bark. So but back to it, the reason that we like going through eBay to ship the items once we sell them is I have found that we win way more cases, or at least the cases go through much faster if somebody reports that, hey, I didn't receive the item, even though it says that it was shipped, or that it was delivered. Where if we ship it ourselves using our own UPS account or USPS account, we'll still normally win those, and for the most part, but I have lost them. I have lost a case here and there, where the customer said they didn't receive it. UPS says they did, but now I'm having to be the guy, the go-between, and having to deal with UPS and the customer, and trying to mitigate, what the where we're at with it, getting information back to eBay. So a while back, I started doing all my shipping of eBay items just through eBay, and we've had a few issues here and there where folks are saying they didn't receive it, and it has been night and day, so much faster. eBay comes to a decision much quicker, and it's been in our favor. Now, I don't know if the customer on the other end, if they're getting their money back as well, but basically they've closed the case, we get our money, and away we go. So I've just found it so much easier to deal with eBay when we're using them to ship the item. It's just been night and day there. So that's another tip. Again, you can try it yourself, see what works for you. But that's kind of what we do on our end, and it's been working just great for us. A couple other things, though, I do want to point out when shipping. Just remember, folks like UPS, FedEx, I believe, is the same policy. They will only insure automatically up to $100. So if you have anything above that and it is lost or stolen, even if it's lost or stolen by them, they are only going to insure you or give you $100 back. And that is a process in itself. Trying to get them to refund you the cost of your item is a bit of a challenge. So make sure, usually with the eBay receipt or the eBay sale, with the tracking number and stuff like that, that'll usually suffice. But just remember, so if you have any items that are over 150 or over $100, you got to make a decision if you want to insure that. And the insurance will increase depending on the amount. So it can go from a few bucks, like $3, all the way up to $10, depending on the amount. In my, for our experience, or what we've kind of do is Usually, if it hits like the $150 to $200 mark is when we start looking at adding insurance to it. We do a lot of items that are in the 150 range from time to time, and usually I don't insure those. I just kind of go with what the normal insurance, knowing though that if it is lost, I'm going to lose $50. It's just kind of playing with it a little bit, just trying to determine if it's worth paying that extra fee for all those listings, because if you do 10 of them, it's like $30, $40 that you're going to be spending for those 10 items, right? So, but definitely be aware of those, those charges. I have heard of some horror stories, and again, I experienced it myself early on. I sold a custom baseball glove one time that was delivered but stolen. I think that's what we think, at the end of the day, because it was delivered, and we didn't go through eBay for the shipping back in the day. I did it on my own through UPS, and yeah, it was basically, yep, okay, it's lost, sorry, and UPS just refunded us $100. So, one of those where I wish we would have had it, because I want to say it was like $250 or $300 glove at the time. So that one did hurt. It was a huge learning experience. And that's why I'm sharing this. So I'm hoping you guys don't learn the hard way. So, definitely try to protect yourself as much as possible. But again, working through eBay, shipping through eBay has seemed to give us much better results as far as being protected. And making sure we insure our items that are a little bit costlier, to make sure that in case of any issue, we're going to have some way of getting that money back. And that whole process, getting filing a claim with UPS does take time, so you definitely be patient, because what they'll first do is where they try to do an investigation, and they'll try to track it, figure out what happened, and that takes, I want to say, 7 to 14 days, and then from there they say, it'll be like, okay, yeah, it's lost, and they go from there. So then you get like a check in the mail, and that takes, again, not super fast process by any means. So let's see. So we got, your scale, your measurements, make sure you're filling out that information on your listing. Make sure that you're adding insurance if needed. And then, if you want to add like signature required, you could do things like that. That's pretty pricey. You usually, to get a signature required, is usually about $5. You can throw that into your cost if you really feel that you want to have that. But I have found that as long as it says delivered on the UPS website, that on eBay side so far, they've always honored that. So I haven't had to really put signature required. We've done it here and there, just if it's something extremely expensive and I really want to cover myself. But for the most part, we've been pretty good there, where we haven't had to use that. And finally, I think we're pretty much at a point where you offer the basically the known shipping services. Usually UPS, FedEx, USPS are the three that we use. UPS is probably going to be it's a little bit cheaper than FedEx, but FedEx Ground is cheaper at times. The only thing with FedEx Ground that we have found, or especially like FedEx Home Delivery, is that it's slow. It goes a lot slower than UPS Ground. But one more thing. Very important. Make sure that if you are, when you're listening, I think eBay, if you're going through eBay, it'll always assume that you're shipping to a home. UPS has different rates for home and business, but if you're on the website, ups.com, make sure that you're selecting a residential address, not a business address. And always, the ups.com always assumes that you're dealing with a business address, so the rate's a little bit different. It's a little bit more expensive if you do a residential address. So definitely make sure you have that marked off properly. And that's why I like using the calculated shipping. Because there are some residential areas, if they're very rural, will have additional charges. I don't have to worry about that as long as I'm using calculated shipping, because once that buyer puts in their address and they're getting that quote, they automatically pull that information from UPS.com, and they are the ones that, that's going to be an increase in price. I'm not going to see that. They basically pay for it, and away we go. So we only do domestic shipping, and we do the eBay international plan that they do where you ship it to Kentucky, but we don't ship internationally ourselves anywhere. That's something that we tried a little bit, and it got messy, especially with lost items and returns. So for us, it just didn't make sense. We're not big enough, and we don't sell enough to, be going international. And a lot of the items that we sell, just didn't make sense to go international. So we stick with domestic only. We did try Canada for a bit and Mexico, but again, it just was easier to deal with, domestic only, and then use the eBay international shipping plan. So that's pretty much it for my shipping tips of what we kind of do on our end. If there's anything that you have questions on, anything that you want to ask us, feel free. Just go, either leave a comment here, or you can visit our website, sidehustleplaybook.biz. We have different articles out there with different tips that we do, and of course some videos and stuff. So feel free to check out that site, and any questions there, just go ahead and add them, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. All right, everybody be safe out there. Keep doing your thing and keep hustling, and we will see you guys soon.